Now, I don't know much about piranhas, but I'm guessing Hollywood is probably largely responsible for piranhas having the reputation as vicious human-killing fish. But I also know that this reputation of piranhas is more prevalent throughout the world. For instance, in my native language, which is Mandarin, the common term for piranhas literally means man-eating fish. And while doing some research, I found that there's Brazilian folklore that says that piranhas can devour a whole cattle in minutes. So why do you think they have this reputation? Is there any truth in any of this?
There has been reported piranha attacks. I'm not going to say that they're a completely harmless animal because they can be potentially dangerous. However, I think it's unfair for us to stigmatize an animal and, say it's a murderous monster just because we don't understand it. The instances where piranha attacks have occurred have usually had various other factors going into them which have triggered the attacks. For instance, most piranha attacks on people happen either during the dry season where water levels are very, very low, and you might have a large concentration of piranhas in an area where there isn't a lot of prey items. So then people entering the water where there are predatory animals in their natural environment in a small area with very little to prey upon, they're just going to only act naturally and try to, sustain themselves. So that could be an instance where an attack might happen. Another thing which can happen is these animals can become conditioned. There was a report done where there was a population of piranhas in a river system, and the overhanging vegetation had a lot of baby bird fledglings that would fall into the river, and they became so conditioned to eating this prey item that every time something hit the surface of the river, they immediately wanted to attack it. So swimming in a place like that wouldn't exactly be a good idea. The other time that attacks have occurred is again during certain parts of the seasons where the piranhas are actually breeding, and they will protect their spawning sites. And if you have a lot of people swimming, and the piranhas will actually swim over and defend their nest. But again, I don't think it's fair to stigmatize this as an evil animal. This is an animal that's either, attacking, and I use that word loosely, because it either is looking for food and trying to sustain itself, or because it's trying to protect its offspring. So this is a loving creature that's trying to protect its babies. It's not a malicious animal. And the other thing people need to understand is when we venture out into natural habitats where animals can live, that is their natural home. And when we invade that, we have to understand that these creatures may respond to our presence and may respond dangerously. So we need to, people have monopolized so much of the natural world, and we've destroyed so much natural habitat, and a lot of animals don't have that many places left to live. And then when we go out and there are instances, it's very easy for us to chastise them as evil or nuisance or dangerous or pests and all these negative words, when we really have to understand that we're going out to their homes and we should really give them the respect they deserve, not fear.
And I think I saw on your website that sometimes people get bitten because they're trying to catch them or something.
Yeah, a lot of bites happen when people are fishing for them, and they might be flopping around off the line just biting because they're scared. Certainly, you're more apt to be bitten by a piranha when fishing for them and handling them and fooling around with them than you are just swimming around.
Right. And I guess, can you tell us about piranha bites when it does happen? It's not like, do they just devour a whole person, or is it just like little bites?
A typical piranha bite will be sort of like a circular laceration.
Yeah.
And when they're protecting their spawning sites, that's usually what you're seeing. You're seeing a single bite by a fish. Sometimes they can take off whole toes or fingers, and that's a severe bite. Other time you have laceration wounds. So, I'm not trying to, portray the piranha as a cuddly bunny rabbit. It's not. They are largely predators. They have extremely sharp teeth and will use them if need be. But again, we need to look at things more prospectively. People always like to think of themselves as the most intelligent and enlightened beings on Earth. Well, if we are, we should use that a little more to look at things from a different perspective. So yes, They can be dangerous. They have very sharp teeth, some species, but again, doesn't mean they're evil necessarily. And they're not a malicious creature that, stalk humans at every chance they get.
and to comment about bunny rabbits, they have very sharp teeth and they do like to bite too. So
yes, I've been nipped by rabbits before.
So they could be like piranhas as well.
Maybe, yeah, there are parallels there. So.
Yeah. So, what can regular people like us and our listeners do to protect piranhas?
Well, if people do go into pet stores or they come across any places that are selling piranhas, whether it be their fillets, whether it be those products I talked about, you can help out by first not buying the products, and I'm sure most listeners don't want to buy any animal products, but secondly, you can write in a letter to the store manager, because obviously there's probably not going to be any store that just specializes in selling just piranhas or piranha products. You can let them know that you're not going to support any store or industry that tries to profit off of exploiting and abusing animals. And being specific about piranhas is important, because I think if we can teach people the value in caring about and wanting to protect a carnivorous fish, which a lot of people think are scary, then I think, you can teach them anything. I think by teaching them the value of one animal, you can sort of draw parallels and see that they're all worth something.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the popular horror movie Piranhas is due out on DVD any day now. If you had a chance to meet the producers of this movie, what would you say to them?
I don't think I can say that on the radio. No, I would probably say, first off, come on, could you not think of anything else? The Jaws and Piranhas and all these, horror movies about animals, it's been done to death. Couldn't you think of anything better? But I would commend them for at least using CGI piranhas and not using live animals in the movie. And I think that a lot of movies do use animals as props or gimmicks in their TV shows or movies, and that's not something I agree with. So I'll give them credit for not using live piranhas in the movie, but they probably could have thought of something better.
Mm-hmm. And it would be good, I guess, it would be a nice project to convince, people that make movies, maybe to put a line or something in the end of the movie saying that, advocating for piranhas or something like that.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is I wish viewers, the problem is, and what you said today is very true, that most people, their understanding of piranhas and other similar animals like snakes or sharks do, unfortunately, come from TV and movies. And we need to be a little more enlightened about what we watch and think, not everything on TV is true. That's what we tell, parents tell their kids that. That's a monster. That's not real. It's just TV. Well,
right.
Sometimes people need to understand that about other portions of entertainment and TV, too, that just because we've seen it in a movie doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Exactly. Now, is there anything else that you want to tell us about what you're working on?
Well, right now I'm focused on the piranha project. Obviously, in the past I've been involved with stuff with snakes and scorpions and things like that. So I love all animals, but I've always had a certain soft spot for the more misunderstood. So I'm going to be busy doing that for the next little while, and who knows what happens after that. But if people want to visit my website, savethepiranhas.com, they can learn more about these misunderstood creatures, and there's also a Save the Piranhas Facebook group, so people are welcome to go on there and join and just show their support for these creatures. And as I said before, I love all animals. Everything is here for a reason. They're all important. And a lot of people, even in my travels I've met, they'll say they love animals, and then they're like, well, fish aren't really animals anyway, and things like that. So, I think we should love all animals, not just the cute and cuddly ones.
And I think especially fish, because we're pretty much depleting all of their population, and they're being hunted and eaten on the larger scale than land animals.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So that was Matt Ellerbeck about piranhas. To find out more about his project, please visit savethepiranhas.com.